शिवं सुन्दरम् एक सूर है एक सूर है एक गगन है एक ही धरती माता दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब सबका एक से नाता राधा मोहन शरणम सत्यम
Introducing Your Trauma Talks, an incredible new series that brings live conversations with individuals who share your resilience and understand your story. Join us as we dive deep into the realm of mental health, exposing the truth behind the challenges these remarkable individuals have faced. Discover how you have overcome adversity as these incredible souls take the stage in New York City, sharing their inspiring stories with everyone. Experience the power of Your Trauma Talks on Trauma Talks Thursdays, live as we bring you face to face with individuals who have triumphed over their trauma and come out stronger on the other side. Hear their raw and honest accounts of their struggles and how they have found healing and hope in the midst of pain. Don't miss out on this rare opportunity to connect with those who truly understand what you are going through. Join us for an unforgettable evening every Thursday of sharing, support, and solidarity as we come together to break the stigma surrounding mental health. Experience the magic of Your Trauma Talks live in New York City, where compassion and courage converge to create a space of healing and empowerment. It's time to speak up, listen, and learn from those who have walked a similar path. That's where you say, oops, I forgot something on. So, hello, everyone. Hello, all my rosters. Welcome to season 2, episode 1 of Your Trauma Talks. Whoa! Can you believe it? It's season 2? Yeah, it was last year. I saw so many different podcasts, and what they do is split either in quarterly or they do it in half of the year and they create different seasons. I was like, man, this thing is going so good. We had episode 46. We had episode 50. It's episode 52 last week, and Dr. Patricia Rogers really brought it last week for you all, right? What was one of her main messages? Quitting, right? She said that. Quitting is never an option. And that's what we do on Your Trauma Talks. Trauma Talks Thursdays. Wow. Season 2 is actually here. And this year, we're about to bring it. We ended it with a bang. And we are about to begin season 2 with a bigger bang bang. As we said a few weeks ago, trauma with us, Miss Emma. Tonight we start season 2 with our amazing guest who's sitting backstage with my amazing co-host as well, Brittany Purr. She's eagerly waiting to come up. So our guest tonight is Paty Mariposa Hernandez, and she is about to tell you a story. You know, it's all about resilience. It's all about your struggles. Because as I tell you week after week, we all are connected. Just we think differently. And when I start this show tonight, I wanted to bring out a few things. We've been teaching people all the time to speak out and speak up with every single person, right? And one of the things I want you all to know is your worth. And when you know your worth, you would not let anyone pull you down. I'm telling you, it's a lot of people that surround you. And when they need you, then you're going to hear how precious you are. And when they don't need you, You don't hear, or you might hear the worst things about yourself. And I don't understand some people. They praise you here and go like, yay. And then the next minute they're pulling you down. Oh, no. You got to stick with your story. Be straight up. Because that means to say you are not real with your own self. So get real with yourself. Because remember what Ra told you, you got to love yourself. And you got to love yourself selflessly, not selfishly in order to hurt anyone. All right. So, Rock could go on talking. It's already 9:05. But, it's season 2, episode 1. And I had to do something special for my girl. I really had to do something special. And since tonight, it's all about New York City and being on Broadway, being in Times Square, and speaking your story of resilience. Let me show you what happened with her.
Guest and speaker of the day/early evening is Brittany Purr. All right. Now, I am guilty of consistently saying Brittany Purr, and Brittany is an awesome name, but it is Brittany Purr. I still sound like I'm saying Brittany, but it's Brittany Purr. All right. Meet Brittany Purr, an extraordinary empath evolution expert and accountability coach who is making a profound impact worldwide. With her support, Brittany holds a safe, open space for individuals to stay on track in their journey of connecting with and manifesting their dreams. Having embarked on her own transformative path of personal development, empowerment, healing, and self-exploration, Brittany has acquired a wealth of valuable experience. Through deep levels of insight and introspection, she has honed her abilities and now actively shares her wisdom with others through Obscuram.com. Obscuram.com. This vibrant online community serves as a platform for sharing knowledge, insights, and personal stories on self-empowerment. As a captivating speaker, Brittany has graced the virtual stage alongside renowned personalities such as Les Brown, captivating audiences with her inspiring messages. Furthermore, she is the self-published author of Can I Get Some Sleep? A guide of quick and easy tips to get a good night's rest. Brittany, I hope you got a copy on you because I can certainly use that. Brittany is a true autodidact, a self-taught individual who has gained wisdom through her own experiences.
Okay, so a little bit of technical difficulties, but you guys got a little bit about her. So listen, welcome for season 2, the amazing, the beautiful Brittany Purr. Hello,
Hey.
Brittany. How are you tonight?
Doing amazingly well. How are you doing, Ra?
Well, I'm excited because when we started, we didn't even know where we was going to get the guests for the second day of the episode 2, and then boom, we had episode 2. Then we had episode 3. Here we are, season 2. It's like wow. What do you say to me all the time? It's a transformative journey.
Mm-hmm. It's about the journey and not the destination. So absolutely amazed that we've made it to season 2, whole year, season 2. Welcome everybody. Our community. I'm also live streaming on another platform right now, trying that out. So welcome to the people there too. But this is incredible. It's a huge celebration. This is a big milestone. So please give Ra, the master behind the scenes, the mastermind behind this whole Trauma Talk Thursdays, give him a huge round of applause because Ra, you are incredible. You are very humble about everything that you do. And I'm so thankful and grateful to be part of this journey with you. Like, I can't even believe it was a year. It went by so fast. And the incredible stories that we've had on are mind-blowing. And I know that there are more people queued up to share absolutely amazing stories. Like, I hit up Ra yesterday and I was like, yeah, I just reconnected with an older friend of mine that I haven't talked to for a while. And I was like, wow, her story needs to be shared on here too. And so did the whole thing of getting her connected. So, I mean, there is no end to our stories of resilience and what we get to share and the power and purpose behind us sharing our stories forward openly and vulnerably. This is what makes the human experience the human experience. This is what our ancient ancestors did when they were around a campfire sharing their stories of resilience, so that there is another day that you can go on, so that no matter in the darkest moments, the light will come up, even if there's 3 days of darkness. Which, if you've read certain scriptures, there's like, this happened. Regardless of what happens, we as a human species, we go on. We move on through the muck, the mire, and that's what makes us incredible. And when we unify, when we come together and really break bread or share our stories, that's what brings us closer. And that's what makes the human experience meaningful. So thank you, Ra, for breaking barriers, breaking boundaries, and breaking stigmas, because that's what it's about.
And Brett, thank you so much, because as I say week after week, I mean, it doesn't, you talk about me all the time putting this together, but it doesn't just happen like this. We have discussions, we have talks. Sometimes the person who booked the spot don't show up or is not going to show up, and you step up. You always come through with a guest, and it always works out. It's like the person fills a spot that they need to fill, and I couldn't have done it without you. And sometimes they say certain partnerships work really well hand in hand. And I wouldn't lie to say, so far, by the blessings of God, I met you in 2023. It's 2025, and you have never shown me a different face from the one I met in 2023. And thank you for that, because a lot of people in today's society have two faces. And in my book, I speak about that. And I even, part of the book, there's a mask. I have a mask on showing people that is what you meet in this society today. A lot of people tell you X, Y, and Z when it's really A, B, and C. You know what I mean? So I am really happy that you stood up for me and stood with me from 2023 by stepping up to come to the first conference, which we should show, our mental health conference, and introduce it before I give you the stage. All right. Okay. So everyone, any speaker out there listening and want to be part of our amazing experience, we had 2 conferences, but we only started Your Trauma Talks on Broadway in Times Square last year. So listen, every one of you, any speaker want to share their story, I'm telling you, join us. So this is just 1 minute.
My dear amazing souls, I would personally like to invite you to participate in Your Trauma Talks, a mental health conference and platform where your voice will be heard. So, why would I want to come to your conference? It looks amazing, like every other conference I've been to. Actually, he's doing it all wrong. Firstly, let me show you, well, you have been seeing, to where you would be coming to speak. You won't just be the spotlight, you will be in one of the main spotlights of the world, New York City, yes! And you're seeing these amazing videos and you're excited. Yep, I know that. Here's a sneak peek of where you would be center stage. I know I got you. I have been to so many conferences as I am an international motivational speaker, but what I have in store for all of you is amazing. All you have to do is allow yourself to believe, because New York City, it brings a different type of energy. So before you move on, I want to personally welcome you to Your Trauma Talks.
Yay! So
Yay!
that's a ad. I know, I'm excited because I think the response from within this week was tremendously beautiful. I would love to say thank God for that, and it's just the rest is up to the Almighty. So Brett, I'm gonna give you your next 6 minutes. I'll see you back at 9:20.
Awesome. So first off, shout out to Ray for joining. He also has an incredible story, an incredible nonprofit. So not to put you on the spot from the audience, but you're definitely going to have to join at some point. This is how I wrote them in. So lately this week, the main theme is resilience. And, we've definitely kicked that off with this being a space to cultivate resilience. You're listening to people's stories. You're knowing that these people have gone through things that maybe seem more extreme than what you've gone through, or maybe they've gone through the same things that you've experienced. And when we hear those stories, it gives us ideas, opportunities, ideas on how to navigate certain situations, opportunities on how to connect with someone that has navigated it before and have a mentor to guide you through whatever you're experiencing. It creates community. Everyone who tunes in, everybody who has shown up week after week, you're part of our community. You're not our followers. You're not, anything beneath us. You are our community. At any point of this journey, you maybe want to step up to share your story. And there is much more that goes under that umbrella of resilience. Sometimes it's just knowing how to navigate day-to-day life experiences. One of the things that I shared on another platform earlier today when I posted a video was the fact that my daughter at her school was asked in one class by the teacher, and this was a whole classroom of kids, teenagers actually, in high school. And that instructor asked them, are you able to go to the grocery store on your own? Or any store on your own? And only my daughter and one other kid in the class, one other teenager in the class, raised their hands. I had to process that. I am still processing that, where I'm just taken aback that, whatever's going on in our lives. As a parent, I'm a single mom, okay? But I do my best to have that intention of raising my child with the knowledge and understanding of how to be a functional adult in the world. So yes, that is her going to the store. That is her making her own purchasing decisions so that she can navigate the worst decisions. We can discuss it and then have her learn from the experience of it, because experience is like gold. And that's part of resilience, is if you're not putting it to practice, if you don't experience what it is to be resilient, it's not going to happen for you. Like, resilience is the product of actual action. And yeah, so that just kind of, I was flabbergasted at that. There isn't that intention, or too many people are dealing with so many situations that they can't even be there for their kids to kind of step out of that nest, explore the world, and understand what it is like to own life for yourself. And so, yeah, one of the things that I'm creating right now is a product that I wish it was launched today, but I don't have it done yet. Still sorting it out, because I really want to bring in that experience of resilience. And sometimes we can have it vicariously through listening to people here on Trauma Talk Thursdays, to committing this time frame to connect with community, connect with people that have navigated really harrowing situations. Some of the stories that we've had on here are absolutely gut-wrenching. But then you hear that they've gone through it. And then you hear that they're there to support you through it. And then you see that they're still doing life. And now they're able to do life on their own terms. And there is nothing that comes close to really connecting those dots and knowing that you can navigate this. It's not over until you're not walking this earth. And as long as you wake up tomorrow there is always a chance to make life happen for you. There is always a brighter side of the chaos roller coaster. And that's what keeps life interesting, a bit tough, but you know that you can get through this. And it's about the journey, about the friends, about the connections, about the love, about the experiences that you make along the way. So thank you for letting me rant on that. Rock, come on down. Come back up.
Well, I don't see it as ranting. I am, whatever your project is, congratulations in advance, because I knew it would be a success. Because I realized recently you really stand for people just like me. This is all about standing for people, because the things and the excess traumas that people have been going through recently, they do not need in their life. The unnecessary stress, as we call it, right?
Mhm.
All right, I'm just looking at some of the comments. It's so sweet, and everyone who is here so far joining us. Oh wow, we have Pamela Bisoon. She's one of my older rasters from the past. Pamela, thank you so much for joining in. Ray saying yay. She's sending. Robert Pauline is saying congrats to both of you. I love lots of stories. She has lots of stories to share. If we come down here, oh wow, Yannick is online. Yannick, thank you so much for joining us. And I just want to call out Donna. Donna is looking at us from the Philippines. Just want to make sure she support me. She's so amazing. We love you, Donna. And you remember Donna, you remember Yannick. Yannick is on with us. Ray is saying, I'll work on it. Then we have Miss Viva Miss is saying, congratulations. Thank you for dedicating your time. You both beautiful children. Blessings to you all. Karma love. We're getting hi from Freddie Flores, Chandra Babulal Gopardhan. Good night, everyone. Sweetie Nuri. Congratulations, Ryan Brittany, season 2. Wow. Thank you both. Much love and appreciation. And we have Ray saying that is intense. I had been going to the corner store alone, counting money since I was 8. And we had play market in kindergarten. Okay, you guys will expand a little bit on that, because apparently Brittany knows well about that. And here she says, I needed this message. Thanks. Woo! Let's hear what you have to say, Brett.
He says, Ray's guy.
Ray's a guy. Oh, my bad. Sorry, Ray.
So, but yeah, so thank you, everybody. Thank you to our community. Those are amazing messages. And once again, I can't state this enough. We are nothing without you. We are nothing without our community. And I am so honored that so many of you, Sweetie, let me go through everybody. Chandra, Freddie, Believer in Karma, Via Miss, Yannick, so many of you tune in week after week. And thank you. Thank you so much. So,
about this time, we want to ask our amazing guest that's sitting backstage to join us up stage and tell us a little bit about her. So welcome to the stage, Paty Mariposa Hernandez. And please correct me if I was wrong.
Hello, good evening to the community and to the both of you hosts. I'm so honored to be here. And yes, you pronounced it correctly, even with a little Latin Hispanic accent. So definitely thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, I tried my best to sing to actually it's a mashup of Latino songs with Enrique Iglesias and Ricky Martin. All I could have done was Bailamos and Livin' La Vida Loca, because my project had Despacito in it and Vente Paca, and I couldn't sing it because I didn't want to butcher the language. So I was like, okay, I will quit at Livin' La Vida Loca. It's English. So I'm sorry. All right.
Not at all. It's all about intention and putting yourself out there and having fun with it. And that's what Hispanics really enjoy doing, is like, let's play, right? Let's have that market and get out there.
Awesome. So let's tell them who is on here tonight. So we have this amazing trauma-informed Reiki. And those of you who knows about Reiki, please stay on. She's a teacher, a licensed clinical social worker. All right. And she's also the visionary founder of Mariposa's Holistic Healing. Hello. We are doing mental health and trauma. We need this. And those of you who need it, stick around. She's about to tell you her story, and she's about to do something special for all of you as well. So guess what to do right at this moment. Before we get for the stage, I want you to share this with a friend right now so they can hear it while you listen as well. And don't forget, put your questions in the comments. So Paty, the stage is all yours.
Ah, what an honor. I can say that it is such a blessing and a life purpose to be here. There was a time in my life where I can remember hiding behind my mother because I was so scared of talking to people. And one day something came to me that said, Paty, you're going to be a speaker. I was like, what? You know, and that voice just tells you something one time and it's like, that's it, it's done. So that's been a part of my journey. I love to share how I got here. So I've been a helper for the majority or really all of my life. I've loved being of service, helping people cross the street or helping by listening or just giving them a hug. And if that's something that resonates with you, guess what? You're a healer as well, and you're finding your own way that makes it happen. So I became a social worker when I was about 19 or 20, because I was like, okay, how can I really help people? And social work was one of the options because I love the diversity of social work. I can work in organizations or in schools, or I can work, which is what I do, in private practice. There's so many ways that social workers help the community, and even teaching and being out there and educating. Social work was something that helped me during one of the toughest times of my life. And that was actually when I was living abroad in El Salvador, which is in Central America, for those of you who don't know. And while I was living there, I was there for the Peace Corps. And that is where I started to recognize how trauma is stored in the body. And if any of you know about El Salvador, you've known that in the 1960s and 70s, it was hit by a civil war. People within their own country fighting against each other, killing, it's intense. People leaving, running from their homes in agony and fear, families wiped out. And when I went to El Salvador, I was mesmerized. I was like, what happened? And they would talk about it, not really have a lot of emotions. They're like, yes, we left our house, ran through the river, totally normal. I was like, how is that normal? It didn't make sense to me. I was raised in a bubble. I was raised in Miami, Florida, in a middle-class family to Cuban parents, where I would go riding my bicycle by myself, totally calm and innocent. Very little happened in my world until I became a teenager. And it was actually in my backyard where I was held one time at gunpoint. That's the only time I ever experienced a gun, was in my backyard in Miami. And if anybody's had any issues within their own home, that is a violation, and that can be very traumatic. There are times that I'm still bothered by that situation, but I've worked through it. So moving forward, though, to El Salvador, that's where I started to recognize trauma in the body. But I didn't understand it. It still didn't really make sense to the social worker because we weren't taught back then about somatics, about what we feel in the body, in our emotions, is we feel it in our body. So that kind of came later. While I was in El Salvador wrapping up my service, my sister came to visit, and I love my sister. She was my older sister, about 2 years older, and she and I love to travel. She was my soul sister, apart from being my blood sister. Some of you can probably recognize that. Well, she went home. She went back with my parents. I stayed in El Salvador. And I remember January 2009. I was in El Salvador. I actually had a cell phone. And I remember my mom calling me and said, Paty, your sister's in the hospital. I was like, what? She was just here. How could she be in the hospital? It doesn't make sense. She was in the hospital for about a month because they couldn't figure out why she had back pain. And we didn't understand as well. She was thin. She was active. She had a group of friends. She enjoyed what she was doing. It didn't make sense. Well, it turns out my sister was diagnosed with lung cancer when she was, I would say, 31 years old. I remember correctly. My sister, yeah, she smoked, but not in the degree that it would qualify to get lung cancer. Well, it turns out she had lung cancer that was melanoma. It just randomly showed up in her body. So we thought. Come to find out, through my sister, she made the decision of not to seek chemotherapy nor radiation. I remember when she told me, Paty, I want to know why I have cancer. I want to know why it showed up in my lungs. I want to know why it showed up in my life. But she was coming from why as curiosity, not why did this happen to me? That was surprising to me, even as a social worker. And so she introduced me to sound healing and energy work and Louise Hay. How many of you know Louise Hay and Your Hands Can Heal You? That was my first book into the energy world. What? Your thoughts can manifest things? That I did not learn that in social work. My sister was with us for another 1.5 years until she passed away. And wow, did she live? She got to tell stories. She got to connect with people. She got to ask for help. That was a way that I saw her grow. It was during this time that Reiki came into my life. If you know anything about Reiki, it's a technique, a Japanese word that means universal life healing. And what that really entails is that the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to believe, gets to come inside of me. Me, who am I? And then I get to share that light with whoever it is that is open to receiving. Now, when I first learned it with my sister, I didn't really understand it, to be honest. It was so far-fetched. How could energy come out of my hands and help somebody feel good? It didn't make sense to me as a social worker. But I got to play, though I remember being in class and helping people, like my fellow students who had headaches or getting sick. And I was like, hey, I know a technique that can maybe help you. And I would put my hands over their head if they had a headache. And I just said, breathe. I just said, whatever would come to me, they would close their eyes or lower their gaze and take deep breaths and just breathe. And then they would feel better. And even though I lost my sister when she was 33 years old, that's young. And it still hurts me to this day. That was in 2010. So 15 years ago? and I still feel the pain, but it's much less. So along my healing journey, I've learned more about trauma, not just because I'm a social worker, but because I see it in so many people. How do I know it's trauma? It's how we react to situations. Trauma isn't about the event. It doesn't matter what happened. It's how you respond to it. Did you respond to it with not dealing with it, not showing your emotions, being strong, not crying, walking away, smoking, or drinking? Those are ways that we just take trauma and just like, no, I don't want to deal with it. But when we go through hard things, it's important to feel it. And so I teach people to feel it so you can release it. Some people don't like me sometimes as they're going through it. And then after they go through it, they're like, thank you. I feel lighter. I feel better. That's what a healer does. A healer doesn't make your trauma go away. A healer helps you to move through it with love, with support. And that's what our hosts offer us. They bring us different people to say, hey, it's okay that you're going through a bad time. It's okay that you're feeling this way. And here are some tools. So I want to share with you one of my favorite tools. And that tool is Reiki. Though on this very, very special night, which is a full moon, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse happening the same night. It is rare. So we're going to connect together, set our intention, whether you're watching this live or watching the recording, just know that you're going to receive this healing energy. So what you may experience in this short meditation is energy moving through your body. You might feel your hands getting hot and tingling, especially if you're a Reiki practitioner, energy healer. You might feel energy moving throughout your body. You might start coughing. You might start crying. You might start laughing. You might start shaking. All of that is normal. If it becomes too much, make sure that you call for help. Text someone, give somebody a call, go hang out with a pet, give them a hug, call 988. Whatever it is, reach out if it becomes too much. But my intention is, like I said, just to give you a brief Reiki-infused healing to help you clear. So if you're ready, just gently settle in wherever you are. You can have your eyes open or you can have them closed, whatever you feel most safe and comfortable with. We're going to go ahead, take deep breaths together. And we're just going to be. And I'm going to guide us and just move us through. And my first question to all of you, however you're watching this live or in the recording, in the replay, do I have your permission? And all you have to say is yes or no. Do I have permission to send you Reiki? If yes, thank you. If no, that's totally fine. I appreciate you. So again, settling in, taking in a deep, relaxing breath. So you can do this by inhaling through your nose, holding it for a moment, and then exhale through your mouth. Another inhale, and then exhale. Another inhale, and last exhale. Allow your breath to return to normal, just letting it be. And I'm going to send you Reiki energy to your heart. However my story was experienced by you, thank you. And if it brought you any pain or sadness, that's okay. Let's go ahead and wash that away. If it brought you joy or excitement, thank you. Let's go ahead and smooth that as well and be present. And taking a deep, relaxing breath, letting go of your breath, turning in to your heart, noticing your heart. And I want you to imagine from your heart little energetic roots being spread out and connecting to each person. And that's all you have to say. Say, I connect my heart to each person. Send them love as you receive love. Send them compassion as you receive compassion. Send them peace as you send them peace. Send them joy as you receive joy. Just stay here for a moment. Feel the vibrations coming through each one of us. Allow your body to feel whatever is coming up. If your hands were up, go ahead and bring them down. Let's begin by gently moving our body, moving your torso, your head, your legs, your fingers, and your toes. Bring your hands up to prayer position, or what we call Gashao position. Give thanks to yourself and to one another for being here. Thank you for listening to my story and allowing me to share Reiki with you.
Wow, that was amazing and beautiful all in one. I have just one question before I bring back over
Mm-hmm.
to deeper is, people heal from trauma in so many different ways, and it's a deep personal thing. Your trauma is
Yes.
your trauma, right? So everyone's journey is so unique. I want you to share a moment for me in your story where, in a little bit of a depth, where it Reiki really became that transformative tool for you. Because your story, I'm sure, I'm listening to you holding back some stuff. So I want you to just if you don't mind, if it is it too much I'm asking, I just
Not at all. Not at
it's
all.
I've been listening to you do what we do, right? I tell people suicide can be prevented if we listen. Many times I know there's different type of disorders out there, but one of the major things, if we listen, and I've been listening to your story, it's deep. I love it. And it's more to it. So can you give us, all right, just at least 3 minutes, answer that question, and I'll come back on and bring Brittany back.
Okay. Great question. So, how Reiki has helped me is I've actually taken time for myself. And what that means is after my sister passed away, like I mentioned, it was really difficult. And I'll be honest that I suppressed that grief. By the time she passed away, I was in graduate school and I just pushed through. I didn't talk about it. I just said, yep, my sister has passed away. It's all good. But thankfully, I was in grad school and I ended up taking a course called Going Through Grief or Moving Through Grief, something like that. Basically, it was talking about how to process grief, but the best way to process grief is going it through yourself. So I was in this class and I was pushed, encouraged, not by my teacher, but by myself and through the resources, because yes, I would have to write a paper talking about my grief. How was it showing up for me and what was I doing to avoid it? And I'll be honest, I did a lot to avoid it. At that time, I was spending time with people that shouldn't have been spending time with. They were not uplifting me. We were partaking in substances that would just help me to forget. And then I came across another social worker, another therapist And she knew Reiki, and she said, Paty, I don't see that you're doing well. And if you're an energy worker or Reiki practitioner, you know when somebody is not doing well. I was able to kid myself and the majority of people in my life by saying, I'm doing just fine. See, I have a 4.0. I am the president of like 3 student organizations. I was busy. I was on top of my game. I wasn't practicing Reiki. I wasn't meditating. And so the social worker was like, come, I'm not going to treat you as a social worker, but as a Reiki practitioner. She had me lay on a massage table and she placed her hands over my heart. She couldn't even touch like any part of this because I had an armor on. If any of you have experienced that armor, it is heavy. And you're the only one that's carrying it and knows about it. And she just placed her hands over my armor, over my heart, and just sat there. It just kind of like kept her hands over there. And I bawled. I cried. I cried for my sister. I said to her, why you? Why didn't I go? Because I was the smoker. I was the one who like smoked a pack a day. I should have been the one that left. And I allowed myself to, well, a lot of times I didn't really, but the energy was flowing so much that it just allowed me to cry and release the pain that I was carrying. And I was carrying this for over 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And another reason I was carrying the pain is a year after my sister passed away, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. So that was a double whammy. My mother passed away in 2014. I was the only one by her side at that time. And it was with Reiki that I helped my mom transition. I remember just placing now my hands over her and letting her know, Mom, it's okay to go. We're going to be okay. That is the most beautiful experience. And after she passed away, I definitely did things differently. I practiced self-Reiki almost every day. Can't promise it was every day, but definitely almost every day. I went for walks on the beach. I journaled. I burned things like papers and wrote things down and then burned them. I incorporated so many different techniques. I went to drum circles. I danced. I actually became a journey dance facilitator where I learned to take people on a journey and release. So that's how Reiki has helped me on my journey. It's been a difficult journey, and there are still days that I'm like, why am I here? When am I going to leave? Could happen any moment, just like it did for my mom, just like it did for my sister. So that's how I live my life. I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this day to the best of my ability because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. And that's not black and white thinking. That's living in the moment thinking. And I hope that all of you, no matter what your pain is, that you remember just for today, what can you do to feel better? Did that answer your question?
Very, very, very well. You answered people questions in the comments as well. Like, oh my God, like we have this community that's always here. This is always, let me bring Brittany Pearl up, please. Brittany, sorry about that. Welcome back because I know Brittany probably has like a few questions for you. So this was amazing. I believe that. This is always some sort of feeling. I needed this tonight. Thank you, Ra and Brittany.
Yeah.
That helped me tonight. Thank you. I mean, I saw that. I think someone else said something like that in the comments somewhere along the line. If I'm not sure, because yes, I think it was Ray. Ray mentioned that they needed the message tonight, and this is what we do on Trauma Talk
Mm-hmm.
Thursdays. You see, I heard recently, and I did had to reflect and think about how people started thinking about me. I lost tons of friends. I would watch if I post something on social media. Bro, I always have over 100 and something. That's just my regular social media before I became raw. Mr. Trauma Talks. Your life experience is a draw. So I heard recently is the people cannot deal and handle the things we speak about because it triggers so much. And even though we come with a solution, like tonight, you have Reiki healing as your solution. Every
Mm-hmm.
single week, we have a solution. The person tells their story and told them what worked for them. But as that person who point this particular thing out for me said, Ra, and what you fail to realize is they want to watch it. Some of them look at it in the background, but their biggest problem is they're not ready to heal. And if you're not ready to heal, Ra, they cannot support you the way others are supporting you. So I want to tell Brittany, thank you again for being here and supporting me week after week. Paty, it was amazing. To all my amazing rosters out there, I want to tell you all, thank you. The comments on here, as I saw, Margaret is watching us from the United Kingdom. I see Donna is
Yay.
back in the background. She's not commenting tonight. She normally comments. Donna, we love you. And she's probably waking up just to, join us on this. We have all these people that come here week after week, sharing the love, calling it out, truth, telling us, and we couldn't have done this. Even those people on the podcast, when I look at the downloads on the podcast, it's amazing. And all these people that listen to us on iHeartRadio, shout out to you. Email us, ylewrah@gmail.com, or drop a comment, or come on live while we live stream the podcast and ask a question, and you will get your shout out, whether it's on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, wherever you hear this podcast, we can shout you out. Just ask your question, drop a comment, share some love. You can send us your story. We can read it out for you anonymously. So I want to tell all of you again, week after week, because last night and today, I realized, Ra, you are in 4 books in 2025 so far that I know of, because I have my personal to believe, my spiritual journey, and Jerry the Doctor releasing this year by the grace of the Lord Almighty. And then, boom, I'm showing my mother today. I'm in a book, right? And I want to release next week, so I'm going to leave that there. And today I was reading my quote from my mom and telling her, this is my belief in mental health. This is how it's supposed to come together. Because at the end of the day, most of the struggles that people go through is unnecessary struggles caused by other human beings in their life most of the time. I saw someone said they saw one of these things in my book, the story like you told. And I'm thinking that's a story of being held up gunpoint by in your own place. In my book, Untold Stories, but
Mm-hmm.
mine's going a little bit deeper, the family, and I put this as part of my talk on stage. My talk is falling while rising, rising while falling. Anyhow you take it, you got to get up, right? And I was asked a question, how can you relate or compare yourself to a family that was brutally raped and beaten in front of each other? And that happened in that book. You're held up by gunpoint. Then you rape the father and the mother and their 2 daughters. A father who went on to take his own life because of him being ashamed, couldn't protect his daughters, couldn't protect his family. How I compare myself? I don't. But I
Mm-hmm.
put myself in their shoes to connect with them. And that's why I say we are all connected. And I want to leave you all with this, because Brittany got the show from here. What is meant for you shall never pass you by. And what passes you by was never meant for you. And I'm telling you, if we weren't meant to see season 2 of this, your Trauma Talk Thursdays, it wouldn't have happened. So I count my blessings. Paty was amazing. All my
Thank you,
rafters,
Ross,
I
for
leave it
that.
in Brittany Purr's hands. Thank you so much, Brittany. And thank you, Paty.
Mhm. All right, Paty. So as you were sharing, processing or helping your mother to transition into the unseen world, I had a very similar experience with my aunt. And I loved how you shared that, how it kicked off this journey for you. That was kind of very similar for me. So I was wondering if you could just unpack a little more about the journey, about like the initial feelings of that loss, and then how peace came through. Or did you have peace throughout the whole process because you had these tools available to you during it?
Yeah, great question. I mean, like you said, healing is a journey. Though I would say because I actually started incorporating Reiki into my professional practice, I started doing more of it, and it got helped me to understand the importance of connecting to source. And I was raised as Catholic, and so there's a very certain way of how people receive healings. And so, being a social worker, I would call it recovering Catholic, right? Somebody who was trained a certain way, it was challenging for me because I also didn't have a community who I would be able to talk about. Oh, guess what? I heard a voice, or I had a sensation. But over time, I started trusting. Though when my mother passed away, actually, I was in the hospital, and like I said, I sent her off, and then I fell asleep. And I remember that there was this moment, like about 2 or 3 in the morning, that I just woke up and I just felt, because that's how I experience the universe or spirit, is that I feel, and then it just comes into like a knowing. And that feeling was, she's passed on, go tell the family. I was like, oh man, here we go again. Because that voice came to me also when my sister was about to transition. But that voice really scared me because I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Am I hearing this? Is this happening? So how energy healing or Reiki has just been able to help me. And I would say in the last 5 or 6 years, as I've become more familiar with trauma and how it's stored in the body, whenever I experience, for example, a reminder of being held at gunpoint, because I live in Miami, I'm back here, and so I get reminded of it every now and then by either a smell of the person who robbed us or a stocking over the head, which is what the 2 men were wearing when they robbed us. And I experience it in my back, and then I get to just sit for a moment, breathe through it, and imagine that pain just melting away. So I do that on a constant, and not constant like every day, but whenever it comes up, because that trauma is stored in our body. And actually, like, I know you have a cat. I have 4. I had to like lock them out because if not, they're like all over the place. But pets, I've learned, are magical, and especially cats, and they help to remove some of the energy. So whenever I've had a very tough, emotional, energy draining day, I lay down for a nap, and 4 cats just kind of like come in different directions. And they're like, we're going to help pull that off of you. And I'm like, yes, please take it away. And that's how energy has helped me to release, to trust whatever comes at me, and know that I have the tools and the techniques and the resilience to be like, I'm going to get through this, and I'm letting go of the how and the when. That has been complete trust that I never learned as a Catholic or even as a social worker. But now I bring all of it together into this mishmash pot of just yumminess, and it helps me get through the day, which some days are really hard because of all the energies happening around us. Like we cannot be in that bubble and not feel the pain of kind of like Rob was talking about. We see that so much on the news
Mhm.
or people that we know, and it's almost normal, but it's not. And
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense, but no, it's not normal. So I'm going to actually have you elaborate on that because, like, the distinction of how can someone go from creating that sort of boundary of what's happening around them is not necessarily happening to them. And I'm kind of picking up that you created that distinction or you know how to navigate that either through your tools or through learning. So share a little more about that if you can.
Yeah, of course. So let's just say, as an example, if we see that someone is sad and that person is sad, they're grieving or whatever is happening. And I've learned to simply say and notice that is your pain.
Mhm.
That is your sadness. How can I support you? I can,
Mhm.
and then maybe I'm thinking of that to myself, like, would you like a hug? Would you like to sit down? I can give them tools to say, like, check in, how can I support you? But know that I'm not responsible for that sadness unless
Mhm.
I actually did something to cause them sadness. But now that's also with a grain of salt. And what I mean by that is I may say something to you, Brittany, and that you take it as an insult or something that may have triggered you and caused you pain. But again, it wasn't because I was intentional about it. It just, that's how you perceived it or received it. And then when we get to talk about it, you're like, Patty, what you just said, or your tone of voice or your body language, or I roll my eyes quite a bit, that affected me and made me sad. I'm like, oh, thank you for sharing. That's your sadness. How can I support you? Or I'll be more mindful. But then here goes the eye roll, So that's what I mean is that it is a learning process of I can't make you feel sad.
Mm.
That is your responsibility. I can help you and hold space for you as you go through your sadness or whatever other emotion is happening. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think the way that you went into that the distinction, and even in how so many people are like, well, you did this to me, you made me do this, or you made me sad. It's like bringing in that aspect of you're responsible for it, yet
Mm-hmm.
I can acknowledge if I've done something to you know bring this up in you, I can support you through it, and I'm offering that support to you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was very beautifully stated in the way that you conveyed it, where I was like, oh. And I think it was just like, oh, like the way that you encapsulated it would really diffuse that. I'm going to call the internal trauma bomb, basically,
Mm-hmm.
so that internal
Yes.
trigger. So I think that was very beautifully stated. So people, please take notes on that because that was beautiful. And thank you so much for those distinctions and, going even beyond just like, how do I set the boundary? You went into that aspect of something that I think we deal with a lot, and how
Mm-hmm.
to kind of shift our perspectives on things, and then how a tool to address it in a way that really diffuses that, and everyone gets to be in line with responsibility in the ways that they can. So
Mm-hmm.
that was huge.
Exactly.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. And then, so we are at the top of the hour, and these are the last two questions. The first one is, where can people find you online so that they can connect with you?
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm working on fixing it up, but you can definitely come and find me on my website, Mariposa, so plural. So take my middle name and add an S to it, holistic.com. And I have free resources there where you can learn about trauma-informed Reiki. You can download meditations or an ebook, whatever it is that your heart desires. Come find that resource. And yeah, I just love to teach and share people about, like, yeah, trauma happened, and what are you going to do about it? Right? Like, don't stay in it.
Exactly. Don't stay in the trauma. Can you spell out the website as well? Hopefully I spelled it correctly.
Yes, that is perfect. How you put it in the chat, that's how you spell it out. Thank you.
That is Maripos, holistic, HOLISTIC.com. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then the last question, what is one thing that you would love to leave with our community? Like one statement or sentiment?
Yeah, thank you. Oh, one thing, though, apart from all the little nuggets that I hope somebody grabbed, is stay connected to your body. If anything, your body, as Dr. Bessel van Kolk says, the body does keep the score, but it doesn't mean that you can't let it go or change it. And so we're constantly rewiring, but what's important is feel it and it'll flow. Suppress it, it stays. So I hope that's a good reminder of, I just constantly am moving my body. One of my favorite things to do is just the and just shake it out and do the silly willy. And you can't really stay mad or sad after you do the silly willy. So keep doing the little silly willy and you'll be back to like, yay.
So the silly willy is like a wave and a shake like that.
Exactly. Whatever it is, the idea is you're moving your entire body. So all the energy that's stored, it gets to shuffle.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And yeah, so just to wrap things up, thank you so much, Paty Mariposa Hernandez, for joining us. Mariposa means butterfly, by the way, which is like it's regeneration, or what is it? Usually our beloveds who have passed on in many different cultures state that they show up as butterflies. So I think that is just so beautiful, you know, touching upon that within this space as well. So thank you so much for joining us as our guest tonight. And for those who are part of our community, please like, share, repost, share this with someone that is going through a similar situation that needs this support, that needs to hear Paty's story of her resilience, of the tools that she uses. Help people who are dealing with a myriad of situations in our world right now that really need to hear these stories. So share forward. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And wherever you are listening to us, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to join us in New York, or if you want to join us here on Trauma Talk Thursdays as a speaker, reach out. Ra put his email early on. It is, Ra, do you want to put that in the chat? And maybe we could put that up there. And then reach out to us. We are a community. Join us. You are welcome to our stages, and we welcome you with open arms to share your story, because as someone was saying on the other live that I'm streaming right now, they were saying, like, more so now than ever, we need these stories. We need healing. We need the guidance and the resilience to understand that we can navigate whatever situation we're dealing with. And this year is just beginning, and it's already been a wild ride. So I think they're very correct. So thank you so much. Thank you, Paty, for joining us. And I definitely, you know, pick up on that energy that you were giving. And it's just like, it is a light. You are a light. And thank you. much.
Thank you. Well, have a fabulous evening, everyone. I'm excited to be part of this community now.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye, everybody.